Source.
Well, school is out here in Lawrence as the students make their way in. A chance to check out a great matchup, and they'll get a chance to let off some post-final steam. Georgetown, Kansas, next. Inside Allen Fieldhouse. Happy holidays, everybody. And a great matchup. You got Georgetown and number 18 Kansas here in Lawrence. And we are the opening act for a busy day of sports on ESPN. Capital One Bowl Week gets going following our game, the first of 3 football matchups, including Washington State and Colorado State. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us. John Chambi and Jay Billis with you inside one of the meccas of college basketball. Georgetown has never played here at Allen Fieldhouse. And for Kansas, they've dropped 2 of 3. Jay, one of the trends that's continued, Bill Self playing a really tough non-conference schedule.
I think Kansas has had the toughest schedule in the country with 5 new starters. This team has been dealing in reality. Went on the road to Colorado and lost, on the road at Florida. I mean, it's a really difficult schedule. In the long run, I think they'll be better off for it.
All right, we go one-on-one. If Georgetown is going to pull off this upset, you'd have to figure guard play is going to be a huge factor.
Well, it's a guard-dominated team, and with Devontae Smith-Rivera and Markelle Starks, those guys average about 33 points a game. They shoot it very well. They're very good off the dribble. I think Andrew Wiggins is going to be on Devontae Smith-Rivera. And for Kansas, it's about getting the ball inside. Everything they do is to get an angle in the post. You may see Georgetown go zone to see if Kansas can prove it over the top, and their big guys don't dominate the game.
All right, starting lineups for this one. And first, for the Hoyas, the backcourt is a key with Starks and Smith-Rivera, Jabril Trawick, Nate Lubick, and Joshua Smith, the rest of their lineup. Meanwhile, for Bill Self, he starts 3 freshmen, including Andrew Wiggins, Nadir Tharp, the junior, Wayne Selden Jr., one of those freshmen at up front, Harry Ellis, and Joel Embiid. Well, Bill Self has done a magnificent job in this building. He is 164-8. And you counter to those 9 regular season conference titles. John Thompson III, his 10th season, of course, 7 times to the NCAAs under John Thompson III as he continues to have success in Washington, D.C. Ready to roll here at the Fog. Smith and Embiid to jump it up. And Kansas wins the tip. Nadir Tharp to handle here. And this is Wiggins, their prize freshman, a top recruit in the country.
Georgetown starting out in man-to-man. But this is a team that has played about 1/3 of its possessions in zone, and immediately the ball goes inside to Embiid.
It's a Kansas team that does not shoot a ton of threes. Embiid knocks it down.
That's Kansas setting ball screens. Whoever is being guarded by Joshua Smith is going to put him in as many ball screens as possible. He is not mobile, and they got him to switch, and Embiid took advantage of it in a pick-and-pop situation.
They find Joshua Smith up and under. Nicely done by the big guy.
It's so interesting. He has some difficulty moving on the defensive end and when he's on the glass, but he is immovable once he gets position.
There's a turnover. Smith-Rivera with it.
Georgetown's never played here before, but Joshua Smith has. When he was with UCLA in 2010, they played here, and he had a terrific game.
Yeah, went for 17 and 13 as they lost in the final second, and a free throw by Mario Little. Good look. Lubick cutting to the rim and lays it in.
Kansas late with the double team. Actually, 3 guys went to him. A little 1-2-2 3/4 court pressure by Georgetown, and it's resulted in 2 turnovers already, and it really hasn't been heavy pressure. It's just been bad turnovers by Kansas.
Turnovers have been a problem at times for the Jayhawks.
Well, against Florida in the O'Connell Center, Kansas had 24 turnovers. So many of them by their guards, it was really discouraging. Then they only had 9 against New Mexico.
Markelle Starks, the senior, gives off Trawick, and Lubick just inside the 3-point line. Oh, big contact
not
there.
A foul?
And they're going to say travel, and it belongs to Kansas. That was some serious contact over there.
Devontae Smith-Rivera had that ball essentially, and I mean, I guess You give the guys a little bit of a break because both are going after the ball, but still, that's a lot of contact to let go.
Jay, 3 football games coming up after our game. Remember that.
Trying to get us ready for that. There's another ball screen to make Smith move. Well guarded by Georgetown.
Wiggins hits the pull-up.
Andrew Wiggins is a freak athlete that is a great defender, and his offensive game is coming along. The expectations were so high. He's guarding Devontae Smith-Rivera. That's a huge matchup in this game.
Joshua Smith getting in very deep right there. Tough to stop. Obviously 4 points already, but if he gets it in that deep, what are you going to do?
Well, that's the issue, is where he catches it. If you can extend the catch on him, then you've got a chance.
Clark penetration, feed to Perry Ellis. Smith with a good look, and inside Trawick draws the foul.
Here's Joshua Smith getting positioned down low. You let him catch it with 2 feet in the paint, he just buries you. And Embiid got on the wrong side of him early and could never really catch up. You've got to play him on the line, up the line, and make them throw it over the top, because they don't do that very often. But it is near impossible. It's 2 bus transfers and a subway ride to get around him.
Joshua Smith listed at 6'10", 350. One thing John Thompson III told us, he was surprised by his feel. He said he's got an excellent feel, and we've seen already a good passer.
Well, he's got great hands, and he is a good passer. He doesn't have a ton of assists on the season, but he's got a good understanding of the game. He's just got to rebound. He has not been rebounding. In fact, Devontae Smith-Rivera, who's a good guard rebounder, has twice as many defensive rebounds as Joshua Smith. That can't happen.
Wiggins at the rim, had it slapped away. No call. No call again. Ellis gathers it in, and now a foul underneath.
Boy, that's amazing that Wiggins didn't draw a foul on either one of those. Shooters not really being protected early on in this ball game, but a strong move by Andrew Wiggins to get to the rim.
They get the foul on Lubick, his first. And Ellis at the line. We mentioned the 3 freshmen start for Kansas. Ellis and Tharp, the only 2 guys that self-returned that averaged 10 or more minutes last year. So a very inexperienced group he brought into this season.
Well, it's a totally new team, really. And this is going to be a very important point of the season for Kansas, because once they get back on the 26th from Christmas break, they're going to have a lot of time to practice. There are no time restrictions. School will be out for quite some time. And usually teams make a pretty good sized jump with the ability to practice and work on what they've learned. And this Kansas team has learned a lot because of the quality of its schedule. A little zone right now from Kansas.
Deep 3 from Starks, and he buries it.
Andrew Wiggins just had his hands down up top. He's longer and more athletic. But if you give Markelle Starks an opening, he's going to take the quick shot. Starks is a good shooter.
And now they get Trawick with that foul. We talked about how tough Kansas's non-conference schedule is. Check it out. All these teams in the NCAA tournament last year, they still have San Diego State upcoming.
Just ridiculously difficult, especially for a young team and a team that hasn't played together. But Bill Self deals in reality. He wants this team to know who they are early so they can get better. And I think they have gotten better already. They're getting better defensively. I think offensively is a real key. This team's got to improve on the offensive end.
And a bump on the baseline. Our under 16 timeout here in Lawrence. Georgetown, the early lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. AT&T, rethink possible. And Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive?
Back here in Lawrence, and things just getting started. Georgetown with the lead. John Shambi, Jay Billis. We go inside the play and look at Joshua Smith.
Anytime Joshua Smith is playing man-to-man, Kansas is going to try to involve him in ball screens. Joel Embiid is going to go all the way across the floor and set a ball screen after he has a skip pass. That's a lot of ground for Joshua Smith to cover. Look, he's late getting there. Look how much ground there is between him and that screen. He's not up to hedge on the screen. There's a little pick and pop. and all alone is Joel Embiid, and it's difficult for Joshua Smith to get to the glass. He's going to be blocked out there by Perry Ellis. So having him move around on the defensive end is going to be a big part of this game for Kansas.
He goes 6'10", 350. Joshua Smith played 30 minutes in their last game against Elon. He told John Thompson III afterwards, "I don't think I've ever played 30 minutes in my life." They had tried the lob inside, but a foul. And they get Trawick with his second.
Georgetown went to a 2-3 zone on the out of bounds underneath. And Kansas likes to try to get the ball into the middle of the floor and engage the middleman in the zone and then lob it.
Smith Rivera on Wiggins, who kicks out. And a three knocked down by Selvin. And again, they don't take a lot of threes. They don't make a lot of threes. Only 32% as a team for the Jayhawks. Well, on Sunday, one of the most storied hoops programs in men's and women's history in action. ESPN, ESPNU. First the women in the Maggie Dixon Classic. #1 UConn against #21 Cal. That's 1 Eastern. And then ESPNU 3:30 Eastern. #10 UConn, the men, against Washington. Cal women went to the Final Four last year.
Thus far in the ballgame, John, Devontae Smith Rivera hasn't gotten a lot of open looks. He's been guarded by Andrew Wiggins, who's a spectacular athlete and I think has a chance to be a great defender. And Georgetown's got to get him some open shots if they expect to win on the road. He's a vital part of their offense.
Mike Roberts came over to help and reversed the call. It stays with Georgetown. Smith Rivera handling, very strong player.
Joel Embiid has got his hands full having to guard Joshua Smith down the low post.
Thought about the lob and tried it actually. Went off the side of the backboard. Yeah, Smith and Embiid, at least in terms of what they're listed at, it's a 100-pound difference.
It's probably more than that. I mean, it's hard to really explain just how big Josh Smith is out there and how much space he takes up. And he gets such good position, and whatever position he gets, he is keeping. You are not moving him off a spot.
Ellis used the ball fake. Nice move.
Kansas goes right into their high-low. And when Smith is isolated up top, Ellis just drove right around him. Well, that's where his lack of mobility hurts him on the defensive end, and where Georgetown may wind up having to go zone.
Smith Rivera buries a three. He's their leading scorer, and a guy that Coach Thompson says he's got to do everything for us.
Well, Wiggins just caught up on a screen.
Inside, Embiid and one. Well, he absorbed the contact there and handled it.
Joel Embiid just oozes potential. Gets pretty good position, but he is low. It's difficult to get position on Josh Smith, but he got the ball low. He went through the contact, got it off the glass, and got it to go in. He keeps getting better and better and better.
I mean, Embiid is a guy, for all the talk of Wiggins and Parker and Gordon and Randall, you think he could end up being the best guy of the group?
I think he's the best prospect among freshmen out there. I think Jabari Parker of Duke is the best player right now, but the best long-term prospect is Embiid.
Oh, nice move inside. Aaron Bowen along the baseline.
Kansas is getting screened right now. They're running into screens. They're having some difficulty in getting over and cutting off drives. That was a really good drive by Aaron Bowen, who is the best athlete on this Georgetown team. Tremendous use of the left hand.
Showed it off right there. The foul on Perry Ellis, his first. And a chance at a three-point play for the senior that averages just over 4 a game. Bowen intercepts the pass and throws it down.
Alert play by Bowen. Terrible pass by Selden. And Frank Mason was running away from the ball instead of running it into his hands. That's a recipe for a layup, and Georgetown got it.
Ellis got good position inside. Shot blocked. Might have been Hopkins with that swat. Into the game for Georgetown as well is Moses Ayegba. And Frank Mason picks up a foul.
Here's Aaron Bowen right here, and he's just lying in wait because Wayne Selden basically in the corner. He's got some pressure on him. He just lobs up a lame duck. Frank Mason running away from the ball. You can't do that in a full court situation. Well, you can, but you give up a layup. So you can't do that. He just did it.
Bowen way off the mark. Mason tracks it down. Mason, one of their freshmen out of Petersburg, Virginia.
2-3 zone right now for Kansas, or for Georgetown against Kansas.
They get Ayegba with the foul, his first. Team foul number 6 on the Hoyas.
Georgetown sticks with this zone. They will on out of bounds underneath. They've got to be careful of Brandon Green, who's a really good perimeter shooter. Hasn't taken a lot of threes this year, but he's got a really good stroke and can knock them down.
This is Green with the basketball. And now Selden. Starks almost came up with a steal. And now Starks does come up with a steal. And Smith-Rivera lays it in.
Kansas is very loose with the basketball. You give a lot of credit to Georgetown because it's an excellent defensive team. This team really guards and has ever since John Thompson III got there.
3 from Green wouldn't go. Well, John Thompson said Devontae Smith-Rivera and Markelle Starks both had to play very well. Couldn't have off games if they were going to pull off this win, and so far they've played well.
Nice little ball screen, fade screen action. Kansas covered it pretty well.
Starks buries a 3.
Georgetown's so good on those little step behind jump shots. Good passers, really good cutters, and they take advantage of reads.
Mason into the paint, lost the ball, and he got bumped.
Well, Georgetown has the lead in this one primarily due to its defense, getting some turnovers, and they have done a nice job of taking them the other way and scoring off their defense.
Back here at Allen Fieldhouse. Happy holidays, everybody. Georgetown's first trip here. So far, it is going well as they lead by 6. Bill Self, 11th season as the head coach. And we take a look at who's leading the way. Brought to you by the movie Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. Bill Self has led Kansas to 9 straight Big 12 regular season titles. He's been undefeated 4 different times at home. National title in 08. 164-8 in this building under Bill Self. So he has more regular season conference titles than losses at home.
Just a ridiculous amount of success, and Bill Self is a Naismith Hall of Famer. It's just a matter of time. The success he's achieved everywhere he's been to the Elite 8 7 different times. Gone to the Final Four twice, won the national championship in 2008. Just a phenomenal basketball coach.
Oral Roberts, then Tulsa, then Illinois.
The shooting, John, in this game has been phenomenal. Georgetown 9 of 11. They've hit all 3 of their 3-point attempts. And Kansas really bringing up the rear, just 67%.
At the line, shooting a 1-and-1 is Frank Mason. 1-and-1 here from Mason. Frank Mason started 3 times this year and averages in the neighborhood of about 20 minutes a game. So again, even when he's coming off the bench, Bill Self is looking to get him involved a lot.
He's an aggressive player. He put the ball on the floor. He attacks the basket. But I think for Kansas to be the best team it can be, Nadir Tharp has got to take over the point guard position and make it his own. I think it's a question of his leadership more so than anything. He's coming off a 9-assist game and just managing the team. It's a young team and it needs direction. And that usually comes from the point guard position.
Mason ending a 9-0 Georgetown run. And Starks continues the Hoyas' hot shooting.
Whenever Georgetown gets a reversal, they force some switches, but it's been difficult for Kansas to get up and around screens.
Well, right there, the Hoyas sniffed out the lob. Ayegba deflected it.
Well, it's one thing to get open shots, and Georgetown has done that, but they've made every open shot they've got. Got to give them a lot of credit for that. This is especially this guard tandem. They are good shooters and good scorers.
Try the lob again. This time they get the foul on Mikhail Hopkins. ESPN2's coverage of Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers continues tonight. We have a doubleheader for you. 5:30 Eastern, the Bud Light Bragging Rights game. Illinois and Missouri, 7:30. It's Notre Dame and Ohio State in the BlackRock Gotham Classic. College Hoops tonight on ESPN2.
That Bragging Rights game in St. Louis is one of the best games of the year.
Always fun when those two states go head to head as Embiid gets the front end. Joel Embiid. We documented how he has impacted things as a shot blocker, but this is a guy that didn't start playing basketball until he was 16 years old. He played volleyball in Cameroon.
1-2-2 3/4 court pressure. I like the idea of putting a little pressure in the backcourt on Georgetown just to slow the advance. That way you don't have to guard their stuff as long in the half court. Little odd man front zone with Andrew Wiggins up top. Wiggins has good length, athleticism. He can really bother shooters up top, but he's got to get those hands up.
Smith Rivera to Ayegba. Now they move the ball. Shot clock's at 5. Bowen, baseline, blocked by Embiid. Wow. Bowen flying at the rim, and Embiid erased it.
That was a meeting at the Summit. What a big-time play.
Wiggins missed everything.
I think on that last play, when Bowen took it to the basket, you could see the potential of Embiid.
Ayegba with a big offensive rebound. Oh, that was halfway down for Smith Rivera. And they get the foul on Ayegba. All right, is this a SportsCenter top 10 nominee?
Number 1 as far as I'm concerned. That is a meeting at the Summit.
Oh.
Maybe Norman Dale would like him to get over there and take a charge. I prefer the meeting at the rim.
I'm always down with the Hoosiers reference. By the way, that foul, the third on Ayegba. See blocks per game for Embiid. He actually had a game earlier this year against UTEP where he had 7 blocks.
Well, with Ayegba coming in and giving away 3 fouls, that puts Kansas in a very good position going into halftime. I mean, they've got essentially 10 minutes to play where every common foul, they're shooting free throws. When you have the foul advantage, you have to take advantage of it. So if Kansas starts taking a bunch of jump shots, they got to work for the shot they want, not the shot that Georgetown wants them to take.
Well, Kansas has taken advantage of the work from the stripe so far, 8 out of 9.
That little backcourt pressure just took 10, 11 seconds off the shot clock. So now they have to guard this offense for a far shorter period of time.
Barry Ellis almost lost the handle.
Connor Frankamp's open.
And he could really shoot. Good job of stepping in by Mikhail Hopkins. The Georgetown first ever visit to Allen Fieldhouse. And the Hoyas up by 2 with under 10 to go here in the first half.
It's really amazing the amount of minutes that Devontae Smith-Rivera and Markelle Starks play. They are in tremendous shape to be able to play as long as they do, as effectively as they do.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Tharp. Tharp at the elbow. Got it.
And how nice was that?
Starks. And now Smith-Rivera tied at 23 as Joshua Smith gets it in deep. Couldn't convert, but it'll go to the line.
Remember those old VW buses?
Sure. Perfect.
That's like guarding Joshua Smith in the post is like trying to guard a VW bus when it's trying to park.
Foul on Embiid, his first.
And as big as he is and as strong as he is, he's got a phenomenal set of hands. Really soft hands. He's got a soft touch around the basket. And that's going to be quite a wrestling match between him and Tarek Black, the transfer from Memphis.
Yeah, Black just checked in as Embiid sat. And Black with a rebound.
A little 1-3-1 right now. Half-court trap by Georgetown. That puts Markelle Starks along the baseline, so you can lob it up.
Turnover out of bounds. Turnover number 5 on Kansas.
I give John Thompson III a lot of credit. He has mixed up the looks against this young Kansas team. Not letting them get used to any one defensive look. And I think that has resulted in turnovers just as much as the effort of his players.
Domingo is checked into the game for the Hoyas. And Smith rips it away from Ellis. And now they get a foul inside. And now Michael Stevens and Mike Stewart will talk it over. 1-point game here at Allen Fieldhouse.
The coach back here in studio. Good afternoon, everybody. Kentucky having issues over on ESPNU with Belmont. J.J. Mandalay, and they're up by 8, about halfway through the first half. Jay, back to you.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. And back here in Lawrence, 1-point game. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers. Here's another look at that last foul.
Well, Tarek Black trying to guard Joshua Smith inside. The referees looked at that play. The foul was called on Black, but the referees looked at it to see if there was an elbow that was thrown on the part of Joshua Smith, whether it would be a flagrant foul, which they can go back and review. They can't change the foul call. That will remain on Tarek Black. We haven't gotten any confirmation on the call just yet.
And I think that they have called a flagrant on Joshua Smith.
I'm not sure I agree with that. He's just making a move inside. Was there some contact? Was his elbow up near the or above the shoulders? Yes, but that looked more like a basketball play to me.
Yeah, it is flagrant 1. Now I'm sure people at home are saying, how could that be a foul on Tarek Black?
Well, because you got 2 bodies that size. It's like trying to referee a car crash. It's difficult for the referees to see everything. Now, was it a foul on Black maybe a little bit earlier before that action?
So it'll be a personal foul on Tarek Black. But there's going to be the flagrant on Joshua Smith. And right now, it'll be Black going to the line.
The way it's being termed by the officials is a foul on Tarek Black, a personal foul, number 25. And then a contact technical foul. So after the whistle, they are deeming that action to have been after the whistle. which I don't understand, because if he had made the shot, they would have counted the shot. So right now, the dead ball technical being enforced.
Black knocks down both of them.
So really, Kansas comes out ahead on this one, not just because of the free throws to get the ball back. Georgetown loses possession as a result of it. You know, that was a really difficult sequence to officiate. I don't agree with that one, though.
16 fouls on Kansas, 10 on Georgetown. Frankamp feeds inside. Black moving the ball.
That was a dangerous pass by Connor Frankamp. That thing could have gone the other way.
Yeah, you could have seen Smith Rivera knifing in for the steal. Black with a big rebound. Tharp inside. Smith takes it away, and then Tharp takes it back, buries a jumper. It was a 2.
A bad mistake by Joshua Smith.
Hopkins, the offensive rebound of his missed 3. And Georgetown will set it up, down by 3. Under 7 to go first half. John Shambi, Jay Billis, Allen Fieldhouse.
Georgetown going into their chin action, that little slice cut, Princeton style offense.
And they're going to go, what, to the possession arrow?
No, they
get a foul. They get the foul at Perry Ellis, his second.
Now I think, John, this is where college basketball can really improve. Like, I think these officials do a really good job, and they've done a good job enforcing these new rules. One thing I think we can do a better job of is officiating verticality. That when an offensive player throws his body into a defensive player and you remain vertical, that defensive player's got to be protected. I think that's one area where the NBA is far ahead of us.
It's funny, when you say that, the first thing I think of is a former Hoya in the NBA. Roy Hibbert is really great.
Exactly. Going straight up. And then if contact is created by the offensive player, that's on you.
Tharp. And that one tipped, and it's Domingo tracking it down.
Kansas sticking man-to-man.
Smith eventually corrals it.
But nobody really wanted to stick their nose in there and go after the ball when Joshua Smith was around.
No one wanted to run into the VW bus. Timeout, Georgetown. Break in the action. Back in 30 seconds here in Lawrence. Jayhawks by 2, and we are the opening act for a busy day on ESPN. Capital One Bowl Week kicking off today. At 2 on ESPN, it's Washington State, Colorado State, and the Gildan New Mexico Bowl. 3:30 ABC, Fresno State and USC in the Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl. At 5:30 at the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Buffalo and San Diego State, and then the nightcap at 9, Tulane and Louisiana Lafayette and the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Capital One Bowl Week, and it starts today. Smith Rivera off the mark. Embiid back in and grabs the board.
But Georgetown runs that out-of-bounds play a lot, where they just pinch in for Devontae Smith Rivera.
Embiid, little out of control, offensive foul, and Joshua Smith stepping in.
No basket, offensive foul call.
All right, Mr. Billis.
Well, I thought he stepped into him, but you have to be in position before the offensive player starts his upward motion. I thought Smith stepped into Joel Embiid as he was going up. But those are difficult calls.
Embiid now with 2 fouls.
Watch how Smith steps up here. He stepped right up into his path. Now you're allowed to move once you've got legal guarding position. You did have 2 feet on the floor, and you can move to maintain that facing the ball handler.
Tharp, lob, Black throws it down. That's something they work on a lot. The Jayhawks with a 4-point lead. Georgetown started 10 of 12, and they're now 0 for their last 7. Skip pass there, and now Tharp tried to feed Black. And Selden is bumped there by Domingo.
Watch this little play that Kansas runs. They're going to set screens right here on the top guys, and Nadir Tharp is going to drive the middle. They just want to engage this middle guy and have him come up, and when he does, they're just going to pitch it right to the rim. Screens that opening through the gate. Josh Smith steps up and dunk for Tariq Black. That was a really well-conceived play by Kansas. Everybody talks about moving the ball against the zone, and you do have to move the ball. But you also have to penetrate, and you can screen the zone. And that's a great example of using screens against a zone in order to penetrate the middle and engage the middle man. Anytime you have to help up, bad things are going to happen to the defense.
And when they get that penetration, you think you will see the lob a lot the rest of the day if they can get in there?
If they can get in there. Kansas does that a lot. Kentucky does it quite a bit. It's really difficult to guard.
Smith-Rivera inside, and he draws the foul. Devontae Smith-Rivera, their leading scorer, going at the rim.
And that's an example of the verticality we were talking about before. Now, was that a foul? Probably. But it was awfully close to not being a foul because the defender went straight up. Oftentimes, the defender will go straight up but bring his arm down. And that's the difference in remaining vertical and not, and drawing a foul and not.
Smith-Rivera, the sophomore from Indianapolis, got 6 points.
He played at Oak Hill Academy his last year before coming to Georgetown. Played on the same team with UCLA's Jordan Adams and Tyler Lewis of NC State. Really powerful basketball team. Now 1-3-1. Half-court trap by Georgetown. Yet just showing a different look again to keep Kansas off balance.
Selden tries a 3. So Selden with 6, 5 points, the lead, biggest of the game for Kansas.
If he can consistently knock that shot down, it is going to be really good for Kansas. Terrific penetration to get him the shot.
Trailer and one. Great work there by Selden and Jamari Trailer.
Andrew Wiggins got trapped in that 1-3-1 in the corner. His penetration opened it up for Selden. Little catch and shoot. He knocks down his second 3 of the game. And in transition, Jamari Trailer finishes through the contact. It's been all Kansas.
The coach back here in studio coming up on the K Jewelers halftime report. Kentucky having issues with Belmont, who, by the way, already owns a victory over North Carolina. Highlights of that one coming up, plus a full slate of games today across the ESPN networks, including a top 25 matchup, Oklahoma State and Colorado. Seth Greenberg is here. We'll see you at the half. Gentlemen.
All right, Coach, look forward to that. So Kentucky having a tough time at home against Belmont. Kentucky led by their great freshmen here. Kansas and their freshmen up by 7. Which freshman class do you like better, Kansas or Kentucky?
It's close to being a toss-up. As heralded as Kentucky's class is, I think Kansas' class, they're all top 50 players. The one thing that this KU class doesn't have that Kentucky does is a point guard. But outside of that, I would say they're just about equal. And as terrific as Julius Randle is and has been, long-term, Joel Embiid has got more potential. Good help by Tariq Black.
Starks into the paint, flips it up. But eventually it ends up with Selden.
That's 0 of their last 10 now for Georgetown. They started out on fire.
Here at Allen Fieldhouse, 3 minutes to go first half. John Shambi, Jay Billis. Been 29 days since the Jayhawks had played a home game. Longest under Bill Self. Longest stretch they've gone between home games.
2-3 zone. Not a good shot.
Talked about Kansas in the freshman class and ranks by position and overall rank in the ESPN 100.
Connor Frankamp from the state of Kansas, an outstanding shooter. Brandon Green can also shoot it. But the first three, Wiggins, Embiid, Selden, they match up very well with Kentucky's freshman class. Tariq Black has given really good minutes to Kansas today. He has not done that through portions of the season. He started early and really had problems with fouls.
Nice. Black knocks that one down. And again, Kansas and Georgetown, the opening act for a busy day on ESPN. Capital One Bowl week starting. So nothing but football to follow us. Kansas here on a 13-3 run. And the Jayhawks lead it by 10.
One thing Kansas has done a very good job of is taking away the back cuts of Georgetown.
A foul beyond Jamari Traylor. 10 team fouls now on Kansas, and so Lubick will go to the line.
Well, both teams are going to wind up with about the same amount of fouls in this first half, but Kansas getting into the 1-and-1 with just under 10 minutes to go was a big deal in this half.
It's funny, Tharp was just talking to Lubick. Those two guys have known each other since they were in 4th grade. I'm sure he was tweaking him a little bit because I could see Tharp smiling. Lubick and Tharp go back to their days in Massachusetts. They played AAU together.
Yeah, Lubick probably said, "Come on, Nadir, I don't miss you. You never threw me the ball anyway."
Yeah, his point guard on AAU since 4th grade. Another lob off the front of the rim. There's Black inside, plus the foul. An excellent first half off the bench for Tariq Black.
Well, just being in the right place at the right time. This was a lob play. Wayne Selden threw it up to Andrew Wiggins, but it hit the rim. You want to throw it up to the rim, but that thing was on a line drive and hit the rim. And Tariq Black was just in the right place. Just his first half alone has been his best game as a Jayhawk.
His issue picking up fouls. He's limited. He's basically started 8 times. He's played only 10 minutes a game, however.
That was a bad foul by Jamari Traylor. You want to be physical. You want to try to do a good job of getting around on that missed free throw and trying to get an offensive rebound. But you don't want to foul 94 feet from the basket when Georgetown has had such a difficult time scoring over the last 7 or 8 minutes, and let him go to the other end for 2 free throws.
Hopkins getting the first. And here comes Landon Lucas. Jamari Traylor having a seat.
I think Bill Self telling Jamari Traylor that very thing right now, that you just can't get a foul in that situation.
Hopkins 1 out of 2.
I think Kansas against this 2-3 zone still wants to look inside to play inside out. One thing you don't want to do is settle.
Black deep inside, and he's fouled again. So Kansas by 9, 1:59 to go here first half.
See, getting down to the short corner, that flattens the zone out. And Tariq Black just gets great position in the middle of the lane. I'm not sure that Georgetown had their hands ready to deflect that pass.
Foul was on Hopkins, his second. And Black has 9 first half points. And Nate Lubick checks back in.
What a terrific half by Tarek Black. He has been a huge factor in this first half.
Hoyas started 10 out of 12 from the floor, 0 for their last 11. Starks gives off. Wow, shot block. Lucas got a piece. Black maybe as well.
Landon Lucas blocked that with his left hand. That was a big-time block by Landon Lucas. Wow. Right out of Mikhail Hopkins' hands. And that's as clean as you're going to get up top. Lucas blocked 5 shots against New Mexico, had 5 rebounds, his best game of the year.
They have not been able to get Devontae Smith-Rivera all that involved. Here's Starks, shot clock winding down. Feed inside. Hopkins didn't get it off. 6 turnovers in the first half for the Hoyas. Allen Fieldhouse seats a little over 16,000. The NCAA.com just did a poll, and it was rated the loudest building in America.
What a phenomenal atmosphere. There's that play again, this time getting it out to Wiggins. They didn't have the lob.
Wiggins short on the pull-up.
Not a very good shot by Andrew Wiggins. A challenge jump shot. That's not the shot Kansas wanted. That's the shot Georgetown wanted them to take.
And Smith-Rivera buries that jumper.
It's amazing how many times after you take a bad shot, your defense gives up an open shot on the other end. It's really, usually after you take a bad shot, you give up a layup.
Well, Joel Embiid has impacted this game on both ends.
Really, there's nothing that this young man cannot do on a basketball floor. Just his ability to plug himself into the game and play consistently has been the issue. But he's so young in the game, but he does things that have your jaw on the floor. And you just think about, geez, as he gets older, just how good is he going to be? And there have been several people, Bill Self included, that have said he reminds you of a really young Hakeem Olajuwon. And you know what, as crazy as that sounds when you start thinking about Hakeem Olajuwon and his Hall of Fame career and all that he accomplished, if you look at those two as 18-year-old prospects, it's not very far off.
The thing that surprises me, knowing that Embiid has played basketball for only a couple of years, offensively he's not as raw as you would expect him to be. It's a pretty good-looking stroke. Great stroke and a terrific touch and a really good skill level. He's got everything you want. Tharp hoists one up and buries a three.
Really nice job screening the top of the zone. This has been the best defense that Kansas has played all season against a difficult team to guard.
Lubick unloaded quickly, but out of bounds. It'll stay with Georgetown. 18.8 on the game clock.
You got to watch Devontae Smith-Rivera here. Hopkins will pin in. Rivera will go down and Hopkins will pin in. They like to throw over the top and get him a shot. And Smith-Rivera already talking to the official, trying to set this up. Well guarded by Kansas. They tried it, it wasn't there.
Reggie Cameron is checked into the game for the Hoyas. Starks going to work. Oh my goodness, a rainmaker, and that one dropped. Wiggins doesn't get it off, and that is the way the first half ends. Kansas plays lockdown defense, and the final 11 minutes, they go on a 27-11 run. Jayhawks lead this one by 10. Time for the K Jewelers halftime report. Back to the studio, Jonathan Coachman and Seth Greenberg.
Presented by K Jewelers.
Back here at Allen Fieldhouse, and at the break, number 18 Kansas leading by 10. John Shelby and Jay Billis with you. First ever trip for Georgetown into this building, and they get off to a red hot start offensively, Jay, and then Kansas really got the defense going.
Well, Georgetown started off 10 of 12 from the field, but Kansas really ratcheted up that defense, and Georgetown finished 2 of 15 in the latter part of that first half. And Kansas got terrific performances off the bench from Tarek Black, who had 10 points and 4 rebounds, and also from starter at the point guard position, Nadir Tharp, who had 7 points, 3 assists, really managed the team very well. He's had his ups and downs this season. Didn't start 3 games, but I thought he's done a really good job in the first half of this one.
Tarek Black, huge off the bench, as mentioned. Black, a guy, a transfer from Memphis, who his season high before today was 8. And you look at the ability to get some scoring off the bench today has been a huge part of it, but the season high 8, he's got 10.
Yeah, and maybe it is coming off the bench that's helped him a little bit. He's able to get some of the rhythm of the game before he goes in, and he doesn't wind up going to the bench with 2 fouls. He comes in when a couple other guys have picked up a foul or 2. But it certainly has worked in this one. You got to give Tarek Black a lot of credit. But I'll tell you what, Georgetown has got to do a better job on the glass. Their starting 5 had 3 rebounds in the first half, all of them by Devontae Smith-Rivera. That's amazing.
Joshua Smith, their starting center, he's got the ball right here. No rebounds in the first half. Misses in close, and Embiid collects the board. Embiid with 5 rebounds now.
See if Andrew Wiggins has a more efficient second half than he did in the first. That's the 3rd foul now on Joshua Smith. Anytime that Kansas has gotten the ball to a big guy, he's facing up and just driving Smith. And that's the kind of foul he's got to avoid, or he won't be on the floor very long. John Thompson III has to make a decision here. Do you leave him in the game and have him manage 3 fouls this early? And thus far, nobody's gotten up from the bench.
Rebounding has got to improve for Joshua Smith, and we talked about their leading scorer, Devontae Smith-Rivera. You talk about the rebound comparison at the defensive end. Look at the height difference and look at the defensive rebound per game difference. You talked about that.
Well, it's really remarkable that Devontae Smith-Rivera is doubling up Joshua Smith in defensive rebounds. And right there, Smith couldn't move his feet in order to get that defensive rebound, and Perry Ellis just beat him to the ball. And that's something he's got to improve upon, because he can be a good rebounder. He was at UCLA. He had 13 rebounds in this building. Got a switch now with Markelle Starks guarding inside.
Wiggins had a wide open look at it. Wiggins just 1 out of 4 in the first half.
He took a couple of bad ones.
Embiid and Smith got tied up down low. Turnover number 7 on the Hoyas. Ellis rebounds the Selden miss.
Georgetown really out of sync on the offensive end.
Ellis up and under, and an air ball. Lubick gathers it in.
Anytime you play Georgetown, you have to defend ball screens. You got to defend back cuts, and Georgetown has not gotten anything on a back screen. Really good job by Embiid to move his feet and get around in front.
Ellis up ahead is fouled. And Nate Lubick charged with that one. He's got 4.
Well, that was a frustration foul by Nate Lubick. You can see Embiid at first draped around Josh Smith. He had his arm around him. That was really a foul.
They're going to take a look at that last foul. Perry Ellis still a little shaken up.
See, to me, if you're going to call a flagrant foul on Joshua Smith for that elbow type play, it doesn't look quite as bad there, but it didn't look like he was going after the ball. It looked like he was trying to commit a really hard foul. He did hit the ball. The question is whether it was excessive.
And they're just going to say regular foul, not flagrant. I mean, he swung his arm very hard, but I didn't.
Well, I don't think either one of those fouls was flagrant.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one on Joshua Smith, I do not believe was flagrant. They called it as such, but I don't think it was. But if you use that as your baseline, you're saying, okay, well, what do you do with that one?
So Perry Ellis to the line, the sophomore from Wichita. He's a big recruit for Bill Self last year. Had an up and down season. Coming off a good game against New Mexico. He had 21 and 9.
Did somebody leave a window open? Perry Ellis is a good shooter. But I think
he's looking at the bench right now. He does not.
He can't stand up straight. He may have a concussion. Who knows what it is? But that is not Perry Ellis. He doesn't airball free throws. He was a foot wide on that thing.
Wow.
I mean, that would have been a missed field goal.
I could see him mouth to his teammate, "I messed up, dude."
Like he was teetering after he shot that free throw. There's clearly something wrong after he got hit that hard. Well, he got rattled pretty good. That was right across the head. We hope he doesn't have any concussion issues, because that is not only debilitating, but it can keep you out for a while.
Wayne Selden Jr. will take the free throw. And Jamari Traylor will check in. So Ellis taken to the locker room. We'll see if he comes back. So Georgetown picking Wayne Selden to shoot the free throw, and he knocks it down after missing his first couple.
What do you think of that rule?
That the other team gets to pick?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I don't think that's necessary.
I don't think there should ever be a time when the other coach gets to determine anything on the other team.
We get a foul on the floor. And it's going to be on Wiggins. His second. Yeah, that's well put. Hopkins missing the first. Mikhail Hopkins comes off the bench now. He started all 32 last year for that Georgetown team that lost to Florida Gulf Coast in the NCAA tournament.
A nice piece of leadership there by Markelle Starks to get right to Mikhail Hopkins after that missed free throw and refocus him. Starks is a really good teammate. Right now Georgetown has to get something going defensively first, and that may lead to some better offense, because they did not perform well offensively toward the end of the first half after getting off to a great start. One thing that Georgetown can have difficulty with is when they get spread out. It's mostly a containment defensive team that last year was just terrific on the defensive end. Now last year they also had Otto Porter, but they've started out very well defensively in this season. But this has not been one of their better outings.
John Thompson III talked about Kansas liking to pound it inside, worried about the front line. Well, Ayegba's got 4, Lubick has 4, and Smith has 3. So they got some issues to deal with. And we're not even at the 17-minute mark here in the second half.
Well, that was a really nice shot fake by Nadir Tharp. On that back cut by Mikhail Hopkins, he had to run right through the chest of Jamari Traylor. That was really well defended.
Trawick absorbs the contact, +1, and he'll go to the line. And now it looks like Embiid might be a little shaken up.
Foul call on number 21, Joel Embiid. His third personal foul.
Trawick just bowled his way to the basket. He is such a strong guard. Didn't score in that first half. He just led with that off arm and got it right into the chin of Joel Embiid. And that's what you have to do against a shot blocker. You have to go right into him. If there's any space, they're going to be able to block that shot.
He got an elbow to the side of his head from Trawick as he went to the bucket. Take another look at it.
You know, going to the monitor, I get it, but it's starting to get ridiculous. Jamari Traylor just hitting the Deer Tharp in the face with the inbound pass.
So Ellis leaving with an apparent head injury. Embiid to the bench. Wiggins. Loose ball, and eventually Hopkins comes away with it. Georgetown got to find a groove on the offensive end. And it's usually pretty simple for them. Usually starts with either Starks or Smith-Rivera.
Well, they're out of sync. Hopkins went to set a ball screen after Markelle Starks had already picked up his dribble. You can lay off Hopkins, you can lay off Ayegba, you can lay off too many guys on this team and really clog the lane. It makes it difficult to get some of the back cuts because there aren't as many guys that can knock down an open shot.
Kansas 0 for 5 to start the second half. 9 on the shot clock. Wiggins spinning, had it stripped away, ends up with Hopkins. Man, they were lucky there. Smith-Rivera wasn't even looking. Trawa couldn't finish.
Looked like he just tried to draw the foul there, and nobody was behind him to clean it up. Kansas has to start moving the ball.
Wiggins buries it. Well, it has not been a work of art to start the second half for either side. Wiggins with 5.
That's one of those shots that if Andrew Wiggins had missed it, you'd be saying that's a questionable shot because it was off the first pass. That made the defense move, but maybe that'll get him going. He's really struggled on the offensive end, although he's played his tail off defensively.
Andrew Wiggins, top freshman in terms of recruits, their leading scorer. Buries at 3. Back inside Allen Fieldhouse, Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers. Kansas by 11. A little New Jersey and Lawrence. We're rocking Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. You don't have to say anything.
Not many prayers have been answered in this second half. Both teams have shot the ball poorly.
2 for 11, Jay. I thought that worked out well.
It did work out well.
Yeah.
I don't listen to a lot of Bon Jovi. More of a Jeezy fan.
Foul on the baseline. Timeout in the court. 11-point game. Let's take a look at today's Wendy's Wooden Watch. And top 50 candidate Andrew Wiggins. Been tough sledding for him today. Only 5 points at about 23 minutes. He's one of 3 Kansas players on the Wooden Watch list.
But Andrew Wiggins is a terrific prospect. He's going to be a high pick in the NBA draft. Now, whether he'll be the first pick, I don't know. There's a long way to go before we get to June. But he's trying to figure it out right now, and he's got a ways to go in figuring it out.
Compare him to Parker.
Parker is more complete as an offensive player. Wiggins is better in transition. He's a superior athlete and better on the defensive end, has got more potential defensively.
Jabari Parker playing very well for the Duke Blue Devils. And most of the turnover there. Georgetown continues to be out of sync offensively.
There you can see Wiggins and his defensive ability. Stayed right in front of Devontae Smith-Rivera, made it really difficult for him. Ultimately tied it up, got the turnover.
9 turnovers on the Hoyas.
He's got such great length, can move his feet, and stayed after it right there. Yeah, he's had some, as you mentioned, some ups and downs. But I mean, when they were in the Bahamas, they played UTEP with, what did they have, an hour of prep work, and Tim Floyd throws that triangle and 2 at you. Basically took him totally out of the game. And Bill Self, his game plan was, look, we're going to have to do it with everybody else.
Yeah, Tim Floyd's team could get into some interesting games when they play that triangle and 2. Inside, Black gets it to go. A dozen for Tarek Black off the bench.
Nice dive to the basket, and Wayne Selden hit him in stride. And that was a good bit of concentration on the part of Tarek Black to complete that play. It wasn't an easy catch, and it certainly wasn't an easy finish.
15 points, the lead for Kansas. Hopkins rejected there. Tharp pushing ahead. Josh Smith about to check back in for the Hoyas. The lead is ballooned to 15. And Starks is fouled, no basket.
It is so nice to have an eraser on the end of your pencil. Unbelievable block shot by Tarek Black. And then runs the floor. I think Devontae Smith-Rivera thought that Nadir Tharp was going to lob that up to a big guy behind him, and Bill Self very pleased with his point guard and the way he's managed this ball game. I think the thing that has to please Bill Self the most is the defensive effort that his Jayhawks have put up. This is not an easy team to guard. And look at Wiggins, wouldn't let Devontae Smith-Rivera get the ball.
And Black skies for the rebound and rips it down.
Boy, Joshua Smith has not been a factor in this one. Nice pass.
Wiggins trailer bucket. They're carving up that defense right now. The lead at 17.
Well, it puts a lot of pressure on your defense when you can't score, and Reggie Cameron having to help up from the post after Devontae Smith-Rivera gives up that middle drive. And that was just way too easy. Jamari Traylor with the finish. And Kansas is just taking it to Georgetown right now. But John, when you can't score, and this is a difficult place to have your first true road game, but when you can't score, the pressure it puts on your defense it's hard to describe it. You have to get stop after stop in order to remain in the game, and Georgetown hasn't been able to do it.
Trawick from 3. And buries that one. They needed it badly, ending a 10-0 run.
Georgetown trying to pick up full court, man to man. Kansas going right to its high-low.
Black got great position in the seal inside, and he got hit in the face. And Black will go to the line to shoot 2.
Every time the ball moves around the perimeter, it is just so that Kansas can get an angle in the post. And Tarek Black was able to get Joshua Smith on the high side of him and just sealed him off in the lane. And there was no way that Joshua Smith was going to be able to get around in front.
Joshua Smith with his 4th. So Ayegba, Lubick, and Smith all with 4 fouls.
The interior strength of Kansas and how resolute the Jayhawks are to get the ball inside has been really the difference in the game.
Again, Capital One Bowl week starting today. Washington State, Colorado State coming up at the conclusion of Georgetown and Kansas here at Allen Fieldhouse. And Smith-Rivera able to flip that one up and in.
Difficult shot by Devontae Smith-Rivera. But both he and Starks are going to have to get really aggressive on the offensive end. Same thing for Jabril Trawick, who knocked down that open 3 a possession ago.
Selden lost his footing and traveled. Under 12 timeout in Lawrence, and it is all Kansas.
Greenberg and the coach here at the studio update. Kentucky down 2 at the half to Belmont, but Seth, second half starting to flex their muscles.
Doing a terrific job defensively. Julius Randle in beast mode, but Jared Paulson and Dominique Hawkins are giving him great minutes off the bench.
Randle has 24. They're up by 7. Elsewhere on ESPN 3, Maryland trailing by 5 to BU. John, Jake, back to you.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. And our game here, 57-43, number 18 Kansas with the lead. Kansas so tough to beat in this building. And Georgetown got off to a red-hot start offensively, and then Kansas just locked it down on the defensive end. That's really been the story here.
That and Tarek Black coming in off the bench. and going for 13 points, 5 rebounds, a couple of blocked shots. He's given this team a huge lift with his play in the front court.
Georgetown started 10 of 12. They're 5 out of 23 since. And that one erased by Traylor as Starks went to the rim.
Boy, look at Traylor race down the floor. He beat everybody to the other end after blocking that shot.
Selden into the paint. And a timeout called by Kansas. Well, coming up tomorrow, UConn in action, both the women and the men. #1 UConn on the women's side will take on #21 Cal in the Maggie Dixon Classic. That's 1 Eastern ESPN. And then ESPNU on the men's side, #10 UConn going up against Washington. Well, Jay Billis, we talked about how good Kansas has played defensively, but how about this guy?
Well, Tarek Black has played 13-14 minutes in this ball game. You saw he got the dunk against the zone after the screen and penetration. He's been in the right place at the right time on the offensive end. 3 of 3 from the field. He's made 7 of 9 from the free throw line. He's gotten 5 rebounds. He's done a good job defensively when he's been on Joshua Smith. He's blocked a couple shots. And that kind of production, you go point a minute off the bench. You know, this has been by far his best game as a Kansas Jayhawk. And it's got to give, I think, Bill Self a lot of confidence that bringing him in off the bench with Joel Embiid as a starter is going to work out pretty well for the long run.
Kansas did a good job in the second half taking care of the basketball. Only 1 turnover here in the half. Traylor almost left his feet and then eventually loses the ball. It's Georgetown basketball.
What a pass.
Great look. Bowen on the receiving end from Smith Rivera.
Bowen shot out like a bullet to get that pass. That was a great pass. Peyton Manning would have been pleased with that. Led the receiver right to the bucket, right in stride.
Black inside, and that'll drop. 15 for Tarek Black.
And all made possible by the penetration by Frank Mason. Mason able to stay 5'11", able to stay so low to the ground.
Smith inside. Traylor got a piece and out of bounds. It'll be Georgetown basketball.
Now watch Jamari Traylor here. He does a tremendous job of running the floor after blocking that shot. Oh, excuse me, it was Aaron Bowen. We're talking about the run out by Aaron Bowen. What a tremendous job of him running. Both Traylor on one end and Bowen on the other. He's showing how effective you can be in running the floor.
Well, Bowen has shown his explosiveness as Trawick got that last bucket for Georgetown. And they get the foul on Trawick. And Mike Stewart saying knock it off. And now Bowen is going to jump in and come to the aid of his teammate.
And we're going to take another trip to the monitor, I'm sure. Trawick took a swipe at the ball after the whistle was blown. And there's no question there's frustration on his part here. Whistle was blown here, and he swiped right across, and Wiggins threw the ball at him, and all of a sudden now we got talking going on.
There's still some talking out there. Michael Stevens in the middle of it, just telling Bowen and everybody else.
Well, the funny part, you had one guy throw a ball at another, and the officials don't go to the monitor on that.
Yeah, that was Wiggins' response.
I'm pretty sure that's inappropriate in the rule book.
Wiggins from deep. Got it. How good a shooter is he overall, Jay?
I think he's a good shooter. Not a great one, but a good one.
Stark short on the step back. Traylor Man, he has worked hard in this game. Mason goes to the left hand and lays it in.
And Kansas right now is just blowing out Georgetown.
Nine to go. The lead is 17. Loud noises indeed. Mason rebounds the Bowen miss, and here come the Jayhawks.
Jamari Traylor has done a terrific job when he's been in the game. He's running the floor. He's really showing a lot of energy out there. He's just playing harder than his counterparts. Tough shot.
And they get Smith Rivera on the foul, his second.
Well, the Tharp got bailed out there. That's one you just make him take the difficult one.
Yeah, that is not normally the shot you see him taking, a shot in his arsenal. It's funny, different shots for different guys. That is a shot we see Markelle Starks take and make.
No, Nadir Tharp can make that shot. It's just that he had somebody right on him. That was a challenged pull-up jump shot. It's not like he was just shot fake, dribble to get away from a defender. That would have been a bad shot even if Markelle Starks took it.
Tarek Black getting a great hand from these fans at Allen Fieldhouse. It's got to feel great. A guy who I think you'd have to say was expected to make a little more of an impact than he has, at least so far. 10 games in, I think they expected the transfer from Memphis to have a little bigger impact. Today, the impact's been huge.
Well, he was a starter at the start of the year. He had played very well in practice, but he's just picking up fouls, putting him on the bench, tough to get any rhythm. And now coming off the bench, he's performed at a really high level.
Starks going to work on Mason. Lost the handle. He's fouled. They get Mason with that one. And that's his second. Team foul number 5 on Kansas.
This kind of lead, one thing Kansas does not want to do is foul. And that was a difficult pull-up jump shot that Markelle Starks was about to take. And the reach in by Frank Mason bailed him out. We had a bailout on one end and a thank you very much bailout on the other.
Starks, the team's second leading scorer. Georgetown at times this year is going to be offensively challenged.
There will be some times. And that's why it's important that, early on in the season they lost in South Korea to Oregon, a very good Oregon team. And Devontae Smith Rivera only had 5 points in that ball game. If he doesn't have double figures, it's going to be awfully difficult for Georgetown to win. A 1-3-1 half-court trap. He's very effective in the first half.
Here's the lob, Trailer.
Georgetown is far better than they have shown in this game. But you have to give the credit to the defense of Kansas. This has been the best defense Kansas has played all year long.
Starks quickly at the rim, lays it home. Wow.
And how tough was that drive? Blew right by Frank Mason, and Jamari Traylor came over to block it. But Starks able to put it in with, that was a left-handed play on his part. That was terrific.
Timeout Georgetown, 17-point advantage for the Jayhawks. Tonight, the journey to the tourney continues on ESPN2. More college basketball coming your way. Aaron Craft of the Buckeyes hosting the Fighting Irish. It's the BlackRock Gotham Classic. Holiday Hoops presented by K Jewelers. Part of the journey to the tourney, ESPN2. You can also catch it on Watch ESPN. Aaron Kraft's put together a pretty amazing career at Ohio State.
Maybe the best on-ball defender in the country. He scored over 1,000 points, the benchmark of a great career, close to 600 assists. But he's not by much the best defender on his own team. Shannon Scott is a tremendous defender. That defensive backcourt that Thad Matta's got is really terrific. Where will Ross really starting to come on as well as a scorer?
Where will they fit in the Big Ten?
Oh, right at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Michigan State, Wisconsin, Ohio State are all right there. You know, with the unbalanced schedule of the Big Ten, you know, a lot of it comes down to who you have to play on the road and who you don't play twice, stuff like that.
Mason aggressive, little bit strong. Timeout on the court. A sold-out Allen Fieldhouse and Nadir Tharp getting them going. Jayhawks on top.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And the Mercedes-Benz Winter Event. Hurry in. Exceptional offers end soon.
Back here at historic Allen Fieldhouse. National champs 5 different times, and all those Final Fours. 2008, though, Bill Self led them to the national title. And in this building, they have been nearly impossible to beat. 164-8 in Allen Fieldhouse under Bill Self.
Well, one of the great programs, not only in college basketball history, but just in sports history. Really phenomenal what Bill Self has done here. Following Roy Williams, had a tremendous career here as well before going back to North Carolina.
And one of the best buildings in all of sports. Great atmosphere, great vibe.
What a move.
Embiid back in, and he's fouled.
Pay heed, we've got Joel Embiid as a sign that I've seen in the crowd today for Kansas, and having Joel Embiid is a good thing for the Jayhawks. He is getting better and better. You don't have big guys at 7 feet that make that kind of move very often.
Moses Ayegba fouling out. All right, now where are you on this one as far as when a guy fouls out? Are you good with the break like this? I mean, can't we?
It should be speeded up. Yeah, there's no reason for this. Most coaches don't take the full amount of time. But yeah, there's no reason for it to be a long process. I think free throws in general can be speeded up, and the administration of a free throw can be quicker, but
Embiid the first of 2. We talked about the rules. There's David Booth. Yeah, that's right. He owns Naismith's original rules of basketball. Bought them. It's pretty cool.
Really amazing that he bought those rules to bring them back to Allen Fieldhouse, and the Booth family gave all the money for that terrific Hall of Fame, which is just at the entrance of this building.
And it is a museum.
Really cool.
Lubick rebounds the miss there. Starks from the corner. Fight for the loose ball. I think they got Cameron on the foul. Nope. No, it'll be on Devontae Smith-Rivera.
I've seen Georgetown play quite a bit this season. I don't think Georgetown's quite as good as they were last year, at least not yet, but they're far better than they've shown today. And as we mentioned before, you give Kansas all the credit for that. Well, you got your first true road game coming into Allen Fieldhouse. Not an easy place to play.
Credit to students, by the way. School's over. Finals are done, and so many of them stuck around to check this one out.
They made themselves heard, too. It is deafening in this building when Kansas does something good.
One of the things that stands out, Smith-Rivera, their leading scorer, he just hasn't been in position to get good shots, and that's an example right there. And that's only the 7th shot that he's taken.
Well, Kansas has done a really good job of taking away the backdoor cuts of Georgetown. That's something that Georgetown does really well. I don't think they've gotten a backdoor layup all game long. And that's forced them to prove it over the top. They've not been able to throw the ball inside to Josh Smith to isolate him. Most of their shots, if not all of them, have been contested after the start of the game where they got some open ones.
Starks appeared to just lose the handle. They called the foul
on Tharp. It's just these reach-ins at the end of a drive. And it's almost like Frank Mason, Deer Tharp, some of the guards are forgetting that they've got shot-blocking big guys behind them. You don't want to foul before you give your big guys a chance to alter or block a shot.
Now Kansas has this firmly in control. If there is one negative right now, you go back to Perry Ellis getting hit. Haven't seen him come back to the bench. He was really woozy after being hit in the head going to the rim. He missed his first free throw by a mile, came out of the game, and you hope that that is not serious. He's their second leading scorer.
He's not come back out from the locker room where he went in, and we haven't really gotten an update from Kansas on exactly how he's doing. And we certainly wish him the best. That was a very odd situation. You could have called it both ways. He could have called an offensive foul there as well.
It's the play we were talking about. Lubick got him hard, and then that was the missed free throw.
And he was pointing to his head. I mean, I think you mentioned woozy. He did look woozy when he stood up there, and you know, he's a good shooter. I've never seen him miss a shot even close to that.
Cameron back in. Lubick will sit.
I think both teams have to be a little bit mindful of keeping their cool down the stretch. It has gotten a little bit chippy here and there. Both teams are still playing really hard. Georgetown's still going after it. So you worry a little bit that something dumb would happen. Guys got to keep their composure out there.
Starks inside. And eventually out of bounds. It'll stick with Georgetown.
And there was an instance, John, what we were talking about before, how you don't want to foul before your big guys have an opportunity to block or change a shot. And Markel Starks just pulling it out of the hands of Joel Embiid.
Cameron for three.
And that'll be it for Joshua Smith.
So Joshua Smith, his afternoon comes to a close. We mentioned at the top, Georgetown's first trip to Allen Fieldhouse, not Joshua Smith's first trip. But this one, at least personally, didn't go as well. 5 points, no rebounds for Smith. Back in 2010, the severe underdog UCLA team came in here and lost by a point to Kansas, and Smith had one of his best games, 17 and 13. Not the case today.
Well, it's not all going to happen right away for Joshua Smith. He's getting there, and he's made steady progress. He's not rebounded really at all thus far this season, but he's capable of it.
How much does fitness have to do with where he needs to get to if you were to rank it on the list?
Some. I mean, I think if he got in better condition, he'd be able to move better, and that's something that'll come in time. But that's what I'm saying about, you know, it's not all going to happen overnight. He hasn't played in over a year.
The UCLA transfer came over in January. Selden picking the pocket of Hopkins, and then Bowen sneaking up behind and tipping it away.
That's where Selden's got to put that ball out in front of him and extend his arms so that if somebody is going to come from behind him, they're going to get arm instead of ball. You have that ball close to your body, it's a lot easier to knock away.
Trawick on Wiggins. All Kansas in this one. Embiid. Biggest lead of the game. And Joel Embiid has been a force both ends in this game. Black gathering it in, lays it home. And Tarek with a season high 17. Timeout Georgetown.
Usually when you fail to block somebody out, the result isn't quite this dramatic. Joel Embiid's pretty good. The understatement of the year. He's pretty good. Wow. He just does things that have your jaw on the floor. And he's not yet realized on his tremendous potential. He's going to get a lot better than he is now. And he's really good now.
Pay heed. We have Joel Embiid. There was the sign. So again, breaking it down, you just said he's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, don't want to be over the top, John. I mean, you can see where the Olajuwon comparisons come from. His hands, his feet, his touch. You know, his footwork is really good, and he's only been in the game for a short period of time. Good block by Andrew Wiggins. Whoa.
Well, down there, Selden went down. Well, Wiggins continues to show what you pointed out at the top of the broadcast, how tough he can be defensively.
Well, the one thing Andrew Wiggins can't worry about are people's expectations. I mean, Bill Self, I think, has done a really good job in dealing with all that. He had him do all these interviews to start the year, and he knew he was going to have to deal with all this. It's something he was going to have to learn how to manage. And he's been criticized. They said he's not all that. There's been a lot coming his way. And for the most part, he's handled it really well. And it's not like he hasn't played well. The guy's averaging close to 16 points a game. He shot well from the field. He's played hard. He's been a good teammate. You know, he'll get there. It's not going to happen overnight for him either.
It's got to be challenging for him in just the college basketball world because, you know, everywhere you turn, people are going to be talking about it. All Jayhawks here in Lawrence.
All right, Seth Greenberg and the coach back here in studio. Kentucky starting to pull away in the second half. Seth, James Young.
Nice job of James Young getting behind the defense, but Kentucky did a really nice job of establishing Julius Randle on low block. He had 29.
All right, coming up next, they're going to kick off on news, and then they'll come over to ESPN2 as soon as you're done in Lawrence. The Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, Washington State, Colorado State, starting Capital One Bowl. Guys, back to you.
All right, fellas, thanks. Yeah, triple header college basketball coming your way following the end of this one. Georgetown struggling right now. 0 for their last 8 from the floor. And Bowen able to end that drought.
The one thing that concerns you a little bit about Georgetown is the amount of time they put their opponents on the free throw line. You know, coming into the game, Georgetown had shot 235 free throws on the season. Their opponents had shot 255. And usually the best teams have a huge free throw advantage.
And one. Guess who? Embiid coming off an outstanding game. He had a season best 18 against New Mexico. Doing it here today.
Learning how to play angles. He got Nate Lubick on the top side of him and just moved him up the lane to create that space for the ball to be thrown right to the corner of the backboard. He just releases and goes to get it. And Joel Embiid, we've talked about him getting better and better. And it's day by day. I mean, you can see the improvement day by day.
Lubick fouling out. Starks acrobatic move inside. And Markelle with 17. Wiggins is fouled on the floor.
And that was just a shove by Mikhail Hopkins. And that's a little bit of what I was talking about. I'm not sure that any Kansas player in this game, Georgetown's frustrated. These are good guys and good players, but anytime you're frustrated, I don't think you should be taking off on 1 foot going to the basket. Go off of 2 because you're going to get hit.
The freshman with 11. And their leading scorer coming in at just about 16 a game. The story today offensively for Kansas, Tarik Black, Mason. Oh! Selden throwing it down in the lob.
Is anybody else but Kansas going to be on a SportsCenter top 10 today?
No.
Terrific pass by Mason. Terrific finish by Selden. Embiid's got the block. Embiid's got the dunk. Now Selden with the dunk. There'll be a lot of Jayhawks in the top 10.
A lot of freshman Jayhawks. And they charge the foul to Bowen.
So you can see Nadir Tharp there. Jamari Traylor, number 31. Jamari Traylor had a really good game. Brought a lot of energy from the bench, and Nadir Tharp really managed the team very well when he was in there. Double-figure scoring, low turnovers. And that's what Bill Self needs from Nadir Tharp. Run the team, lead them on and off the court.
Embiid gets a great hand. Lucas inside fighting Mason eventually, and it ends up with Black. Jay, how good can Kansas be? Is this a team that by the end of the Big 12 schedule will be a legit national title contender? Where are they?
I believe they can be. It's not a team that's a great shooting team, although they can make open shots. I think a lot of it's going to depend on Nadir Tharp, Wayne Selden, Frank Mason, how they manage the guard positions, because their interior guys are very good, and they're going to continue to get better. Team with pretty good depth. I think they have to feel very comfortable that their defense is improving game by game, practice by practice.
Well, they locked it down defensively today. And getting to the stripe has been key. 30 for 42 from the free throw line for Kansas.
Well, Georgetown's just given up fouls almost every possession now. And these have not been smart fouls by the Hoyas, mostly frustration fouls.
Yeah, to put back inside there by Bradley Hayes.
See, like that's a dumb foul. It's not going to get you back in the game.
Let's send it back to the studio and Jonathan Coachman.
All right, John, thank you very much. They have kicked over on ESPN News the Gildan, New Mexico, kicking off Capital One Bowl Week, Washington State and Colorado State. As soon as you are done there in Lawrence, we will get you out there live here on ESPN. John, back to you.
All right, so stay tuned. A busy day of college football following the end of this one. Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN and on ABC. And buries that one. All Jayhawks here in Lawrence. The Hoyas' first trip to Fog Allen does not go particularly well. Jay, if I had told you Tarik Black would be the leading scorer for Kansas today, you would have said?
I would have been surprised. You know, Tarik Black is obviously very capable. He had a very good career in Memphis and put up some very good numbers. But to come off the bench and be as efficient as he has been, 17 points, 6 boards, not missing a shot from the field, and good from the free throw line, yeah, would have surprised me.
He was really impressive today. And then we also watch the continued growth of one of their prize freshmen, Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I can't remember a big guy coming into college basketball in the last 10 years that's had the potential of Embiid. We're talking so much about, well, will it be Jabari Parker #1 or Andrew Wiggins #1, all this. I mean, I think this young man has a duty to his talent, and he's not ready for the NBA. But whenever he comes out, you're looking at a guy who's going to be the #1 pick.
Nico Roberts into the game, son of one of Bill Self's assistant coaches, Norm Roberts, former St. John's head man. Almost over and back there.
That's Evan Manning with the ball, Danny Manning's son, head coach now at Tulsa, who put up some pretty good numbers here.
Starks lays it in. Yeah, I think you'd say Danny Manning, one of the best players in the history of college basketball.
It's funny, when Danny Manning was on the coaching staff, the Kansas coaching staff in their college basketball careers, one of the highest scoring coaching staffs in America. When he left, they plummeted down to the bottom.
It was all on his shoulders.
Quite a bit of it. I mean, Bill Self was a really good college basketball player. Played at Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Was the player of the year actually in the state of Oklahoma. Playing in the state when Mark Price was coming out of Enid, Oklahoma, and Wayman Tisdale was playing high school basketball in Oklahoma. They were a year behind him in school. He was a 1981 high school graduate, but Self was a really good player.
Well, Bill Self's alma mater may well be the #1 challenge to a 10th straight regular season Big 12 title. Cowboys are very good, led by Marcus Smart.
Markel Brown is a really good player, a great athlete. They've got good big guys too. I was really impressed when I was there for their game against Memphis at Gallagher-Iba with Kamari Murphy. He was terrific, as was Michael Cobbins. They've got everything to challenge Kansas. Kansas just has big guys. I mean, the size that Kansas can throw at you is really impressive, and it's hard to deal with. Everything Kansas does is designed to get an angle in the post where they can get a high percentage shot and get fouled. I thought Kansas' attack of the zone in this ball game was really good. Overall, really good.
In the first 6 minutes or so of this game, it felt like Georgetown was doing a decent job of confusing them a little bit with different defenses, and we were tied at 23. And then everything changed.
Yeah, Kansas just took off on them.
Yeah,
part of that had to do with Tarek Black.
Georgetown started 10 out of 12, 12 for 42 to finish it. Good block there by John Caprio.
Caprio just received a scholarship. He's a walk-on player. And John Thompson III just awarded him a scholarship.
Reggie Cameron will go to the line.
This is a really good win for Kansas. Emphatic, to say the least.
They're coming off the win in Kansas City against New Mexico, but overall they dropped 2 of 3 losses against or at Colorado and at Florida.
But those are losses that they won't be termed wins, but they're going to really help this Kansas team. They got better as a result of playing those games.
That'll do it from Lawrence. 86-64 the final for Jay Billis and our whole crew. I'm John Chambi. Bowl season starts next. 3 bowl games coming up. We begin in Albuquerque, the Gilda, New Mexico Bowl, Washington State, and Colorado State.